Hey guys, welcome to the DBC film room for the first episode in our player spotlight series. We're going to be covering Drew Dalman in this film. And let me tell you guys, just to start, whenever I got into this film for Dalman, I was expecting good play because I had been breaking down film and everything and seeing him. But I just did not realize how good Dalman has been playing through this year, and it's just, dare I say, elite. I do say elite in the film, because he just really took me by surprise. And this is why I have this series. This is why I want to show this, because I want to showcase people, players that don't get a lot of shine, or maybe if they do, we don't really see them for their full in their full glory until we really focus on them. And so we're gonna get into this film and everything, but it's just incredible to see where this team is going. And I think that Dalman is the engine that makes this offensive line and this run game in our pass pro work. I didn't necessarily think that before, but after watching, he's just incredible. But we're going to get into it. See you. All right, guys, we're going to start by looking at Dalman's pass pro sets first. He is just a very technical lineman, just in general. It really just starts from his footwork and his leverage that he gets, and also how he uses his hands. So in this play, it just kind of exemplifies everything that you want from a technical perspective, from an offensive lineman technique. So when we start this, he's going to come out of his stance very hard. Now, what you really want to look for in linemen is first their base. So as you see, his legs are shoulder width apart, and they pretty much stay in that position. They don't cross over. He's got some knee bend here. You don't want to be just straight up. Look at his hands, his arms really. You want those elbows tucked in tight. And then he's going to shoot his hands into the chest of the defender, and just keep a very tight posture. And then you want to drop your butt just to anchor and give yourself leverage. And like I said, I've watched many plays, and I want to show a few from him, but he does this every time. And it's just great to see. And that's what really drives his success. You see he's dropped his butt. He's not going to be pushed back. On that one, he wasn't really forced, but that just highlights his technique. Again, like I said, when you are looking at good O-line play, that's what you want to look for, is their footwork. Like I said, you don't want anything crossing over. You want some knee bend, and you want to look at their arms and see how they keep the elbows tucked in. Like I said, I've said in past videos, some O-line coaches teach it to come kind of flare out the arms and get on the shoulder pads. As I stated sarcastically, I've never seen a good O-line be coached that way. What the best thing for me is those shooting the hands. And now he didn't get all of the linemen here because he was being helped with Lindstrom, and that was kind of the plan. But he always consistently shoots those hands inside, and he gets leverage and good hand placement pretty much every play. It's crazy the grades that I when I was watching his film. He barely got beat on a block. It was rare that he would. This is just textbook technique, and it was something that we didn't see with Hennessy. I only going to mention him there, but this right here is why Dalman won the position. And again here, you'll definitely be able to see the knee bend, all the things that I talked about in the first clip, just in a more one-on-one situation. He comes out of the stance. Again, you'll see his footwork, shoulder width apart. He's not, and he's got a little bit of a lean, but he's not over his toes. That's another thing. You see a lot of linemen kind of lunge or lean too much, and they get off balance. He has perfect balance. He has a little bit of lean. You have to lean a little bit to get power, but he doesn't get over his toes, is what it's called, so that he doesn't lose balance. And then he shoots those hands. Look at those elbows stay in and tight. And then he just gets on, and then he anchors and just sits on the defender. And I mean that guy's going nowhere. Just great technique, and that is, like I said, I'm going to be emphasizing that because that is everything that makes him successful. Is that technique, and he's really changed this offensive line, and really the offensive line in general has changed because of proper technique, and that just goes to the coaching that these guys are receiving, and it just illustrates how great of coaching we have on this team. All right, this last pass pro play that I'm going to show really just shows his athleticism and his recognition. He steps over and picks up a block to really set up this play. And it's just, again, it's great technique, but again, it's good recognition as well. And then he's got, good enough feet, and see, he still doesn't cross his feet over, even though he's stepping over. He doesn't get, all of the guy, and it's not like the prettiest pass block I've ever seen, but the technique is just, is all there. I mean, from start to finish. I mean, he has to get over there pretty quickly to make sure that Mariota doesn't take a shot, and he just, kind of saves him. I mean, I think the pass would have still got off, but I mean, you're saving your quarterback from a hit. So, just great all-around plays, and I just, you got to give him all the credit in the world. All right, guys, now we're going to talk about how he is great in leveraging defenders and really driving his legs in the run game to get a solid push. Our line of scrimmage either stays the same or it moves in the right direction with him at the center position. And here he's just going to get, again, great technique. I went over the footwork, all that stuff. It's all there. And then he just gets in and drives the defender. If you just watch him, and drives 99 to the ground. That's just, like I said, in the low man wins. Low man wins. As I've stated before in previous breakdowns, when you're talking about moving people or moving anything, you want to hit center mass and you want to get low and just drive back. And he just does such a superb job of that. Like I said, I'm going to just show you a few plays to highlight it, but as I watched his entire film, this was every play. He had very few lost reps, like maybe 5 or 6 out of the 5 games that I watched. And so, I mean, there was a lot of ungradable plays because of how, sometimes you don't, there's not gradable plays. But yeah, as far as like the gradable plays, he won pretty much every one of them. So just great to see. Again, this is another example of his leverage, but I also wanted to show this play too because it kind of segues into my next points about getting to the opposite side's shoulder. So in a zone blocking scheme, a lot of times, however the run is flowing, in this case it's flowing to the left side of the formation. But what he does is he gets his head around to the opposite shoulder of the defender and kind of turns him to seal him off. And you'll see that here, and he continues his great footwork. And this is a different game, so I mean, it just wasn't a one game thing. Like I said, you see it, and you see how he gets on the opposite side shoulder. So now in order for that defender to get to Patterson, he has to go through Dalman. It's just the same as, like, you're talking about making good form tackles and things like that. Same concept applies. Get your head around to the opposite side shoulder, so that they have to go through you to make the play. And he just keeps a good leverage and keeps those legs moving. And again, I mean, I can't stress it enough, the footwork and the hand placement and everything that he is doing correctly here. Just outstanding O-line play. And this play is the getting to the outside shoulder as well, but it just emphasizes his athleticism, because this is not an easy way to get. He has to get all the way to the opposite side of this defender here from this position, and he just steps over and seals him off, and it just shows some athleticism from him. I mean, really, to get over all the way, and now he's sealed him off, just as you design it, and then you create that seal so that he can't get to the running back, and you create an alley for him. So like I said, I'm just gonna show that again here, because it's such, it's so underrated. You don't really see it unless you know what to look for. And him just stepping over and taking that block from Lindstrom, and sealing off like that takes a lot of athletic ability. A lot of the offensive line don't get love for their athletic ability, but you got to get to a spot very quickly with big men trying to push you around. So it does take some athletic ability to do what he just did there, and I just want to highlight that. Another important aspect to a center, really any offensive lineman's game, is reaching to that second level and getting up on the linebackers. And Dalman again does great just throughout the film. He just does great. I'm just going to highlight a couple of plays. Now, these don't necessarily always have to have an effect on the immediate play that I'm showing. I'm just showing you his technique in doing it and how it's, very, very clean. So he just, he helps with, this block here with Wilkinson, and then he immediately is getting up to the linebacker and sealing it off just as before. And like I said, it doesn't have a huge effect on this play, but like I said, he does it throughout the film, and I just wanted to kind of highlight how he does it. And again, just perfect footwork, perfect technique. I hope showing multiple plays like this just shows you how consistent he is with that technique. It's just throughout his film, and it's very impressive. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite plays by him, and it just shows the comboing technique that he has, and again, just the great technique he has overall. He just drives number 57 back with Wilkinson helping him out here, and it's just a beauty to see. So I just wanted to put that in here. He's just driving that dude back, and then he goes in and pushes Patterson in. What more can you ask for from your offensive lineman than that, man? And your center, he's the engine that makes us go. Like I said, we have good offensive line, and it's predicated upon that interior, and most importantly, Dalman. Dalman makes that engine go. This was probably the best example of anchoring, as I was talking about earlier, where he just drops his butt and he doesn't lose ground. He doesn't really push him forward. He's just not giving up any ground. And Patterson really plays off of this and cuts it back. But it's just great to see. He gets a hold of the guy and he drops his butt, and the guy doesn't move, and he actually does a great job of keeping his feet and driving him just to hold that anchor. And I can't stress enough how difficult that is. You see a lot of centers just get blown up by these big, strong defensive tackles and pushed back into the backfield and giving up plays, and he doesn't lose the line of scrimmage. And like I said, it allows Patterson to cut off that and get into this space here. If he was to get blown up and blown back, then he's knocking into Patterson, and that play doesn't happen. So it's just invaluable, man. Now, the last thing I want to show from a technical perspective is something that you don't really see a lot from centers. There wasn't a lot of plays that he does this, because you don't really do this with a center a whole lot. It's his pulling technique. But this was a huge play. This was the great counter play that we ran with Avery Williams that got going, and he really sprung that play. And what's really cool is he, because it's a counter, so he really sells the traditional block, and then he's got the athletic ability to come out, and he seals off this defensive end with his pulling technique. And dude, I mean, it's so good. Look how he just turns his hips and he's going. I mean, that's such an athletic play from someone his size, and just to get up, and again, great technique, and he seals off. And I mean, Avery just cuts off from his block, and he's loose. So that just shows you how important his play has been for this run game, and it's just really invaluable. I'm gonna show in the remaining clips him doing it against the elite of the elite, just to emphasize how consistent and how good he really is. A lot of times people could say, well, yeah, he's showing great technique and stuff, but really, who is he blocking up, right? Like, who is he really going up against? Well, he goes up against Aaron Donald for the next few plays that I'm going to show, and he does well. If you guys remember, I mean, we lost that game, but Aaron Donald didn't have a huge impact on that game. And it's because our offensive line across the board, but he definitely had his fair share of things. I mean, him and Lindstrom just stone Donald, and he gets nope. I mean, he's doing nothing there. I mean, like I said, he had the help from Lindstrom, but I mean, even if it was just him, it's mainly him anchoring, and Aaron Donald can do nothing. So, and that's not easy to do. Aaron Donald, I don't know if you guys know this, but he's pretty strong and pretty powerful, and he makes people look bad a lot. So the fact that he's doing this against Aaron Donald is just a testament to how good he really is. And some might say, okay, yeah, maybe you could just be lucky, but no. I mean, throughout this tape, I'm gonna show the plays that really highlight it. But I mean, even here, I mean, he picks up Donald. Wilkinson gets beat really, and he picks it up, and then he just anchors, as I've said many a times, and he just slow walks him back. Allows Mariota time to get that pass off. Like I said, and he wasn't even, Wilkinson got beat here, and he had to step over and pick it up, and he stones him. Donald is getting no push there, and we've seen from our guy Grady Jarrett, whenever he's got leverage like that, a lot of times he just carries to the quarterback and goes, and Aaron Donald does the same thing if you watch his tape. So I'm not, this is not a Aaron Donald hate tape or anything like that. Aaron Donald is that dude. So it just shows you how good Dalman is to be able to handle that enough. And that's a huge play right there. Because if he's beat Wilkinson, if your center does not have the ability, the athletic ability, the strength to step over there and get leverage, Donald is getting a sack here, and he's probably stripping your guy. I mean, he's that good. He's at least laying the wood to Mariota and getting a solid hit. So I mean, say what you want, this is elite. This is elite level center play, just incredible. And we saw him in pass pro against Aaron Donald, but how about in the run game, just driving him off the spot, comboing with Wilkinson here. This is also, not an easy thing. A lot of times Aaron Donald loves to split double teams and just wreak havoc in your backfield. They both get on him and just drive him back. Just incredible. Just, man, the tape speaks for itself. I could breakdown, and I've told you his technique, but I mean, if you followed it, I mean, he's doing this over and over and over again, and it's just showing, and he shows just play strength and just, man, to do that against Aaron Donald, just again, it shows how elite he is. Actually, I was going into this, I knew that Dalman had been playing well, but I didn't know it was this well, and I've watched tape and everything, but it really took me just watching him solely to just see all this, and it's just incredible. And we showed him against Aaron Donald and everything, and obviously Aaron Donald is the elite of the elite, but Vita Vea is the elite of the elite when it comes to nose tackle play. And so I just really wanted to show a couple of plays of him doing it to him as well. Just to emphasize, I mean, it doesn't matter if he's playing a guy with power, with speed, whoever he's going up against, he's still consistent with his technique, and he gets the job done, man. This is just incredible, man. This is, like I said, there's no more words other than to say wow. Like I said, his whole entire film, he's just winning every down pretty much. Again, this is the last play I'm going to show of this. Like I said, it just shows him sealing off Vita Vea. Like I said, I wanted to show these plays because it just, no one can say, well, he's going up against this guy I've never heard of. Everyone's heard of Aaron Donald and Vita Vea. So the fact that he's doing this against the elite of the elite is just a testament to him. And I look forward to seeing it for the rest of the season. Because like I said, I watched, 5 games of this guy just doing this to everybody. And I didn't want to, I've proved my point with these plays as far as that goes. And I said whenever I was doing the player spotlight that I was gonna leave out negative plays in general, but trust me when I say this, negative plays were hard to find with Dalman. Negative plays were very hard to find, and that's what I want. That's the player I want to spotlight, guys. I mean, like I said, I've broken down every game that we've had so far, and I missed this. I mean, I knew he was playing well, but just how well, I had no idea. Alright guys, I hope that film session showed you just how important Dalman has been to this team. This is kind of the point of the player spotlights, and I also wanted to give people that don't have time for the full film breakdown or interest in that, something that they might enjoy. If this is your first time on the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification if you enjoyed this, because I'm going to be bringing this each week along with the full film breakdowns. If you liked it, smash the like button, share it out to your friends, and if you do have any suggestions or any comments, please leave them down below and I will get to them. But this has been the Player Spotlight series. I'm your host, Rip Cliff, and I'm signing off.